Hi everyone, my name is Nick, and today we're going to talk about plants I am currently killing. I went around my house before sitting down to film this video and picked out the plants that really look like they could use a trip to the houseplant hospital. So we're going to talk about what possibly I could be doing wrong to these plants because, quite frankly, they look like crap. So the first one we're going to talk about today is my poor Dischidia or Dischidia RUSCIFOLIA. This poor little plant, I got it last summer, I believe, as a full hanging basket of Dischidia rucifolia, which is usually pretty hard to get your hands on, which it's a shame that it's just died back as much as it has. I don't really know what I'm doing wrong with this plant. I'm not sure if I've overwatered it or underwatered it. I mean, I would think I'm underwatering it, but from my moisture meter, putting it in there over the last couple of months, I would worry that I've been overwatering it. I grow this plant in a southern facing window, which is really bright light, and that's what I was recommended to do. However, I'm a little worried that's a little too much light because some of these leaves that are still left are a bit bleached, specifically back here. I do have these two branches right here that are still quite healthy, and these are actually going off kind of against the wall where it was kind of shielded from the light, so I think I should probably consider lowering the light. So I think I'm just going to pull this one away from the window. Obviously, it cut back all of this dead growth that I've just been a little too lazy to get up and deal with. And hope for the best, but I will put it probably underneath the grow light. I think I'll probably move it into my bedroom underneath one of my grow lights. Give it a little bit more humidity, water it less often, give it some more supplemented light. I think that's how I'm going to try to remedy this plant. I would consider repotting it into a smaller pot. Now, the only reason I would say that is because so much of this plant has died away that I would worry that there is just not enough root for this plant. Typically, if your plants are stressed, the last thing you want to do is repot them because that's going to cause more stress than it's already dealing with. The only reason I'm considering it for this plant is, like I said, because I'm just a little worried that this large pot is just too much pot space or soil for these roots to adequately grow. I would just be worried that if I was overwatering this plant, I would continue to do so. So just one thing I'm thinking of. Probably not what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to start by just cutting it, and then if things go downhill from there, I will take it out, assess the roots, and go from there. But a really wonderful plant. Like I said, these are really hard to come by in large pots, so it is quite a shame that this plant is looking the way it is now, but not all hope is lost. I think we could probably turn this one around. In fact, it did flower last week, but I shouldn't be patting myself on the back because I think it was probably flowering out of stress than happiness. So let's just move on from that one. Next is a plant I shouldn't even be talking about today because I should have just thrown it in the trash because it's dead, but this is my poor Episcia. I was just talking about this in my fuzzy plants video, and I loved this Episcia, but I just put it up on a shelf, and I had my back turned to it for a few days too long, I guess, because this thing just dried out, and Epicias hate a lot of things, and they hate drying out. That is absolutely one of the things. They also hate cold drafts, they hate cold water, they don't like cold water on the leaves. These are finicky plants, but right here is just a case of none other than neglect. So this will have to go in the trash. Unfortunately, there is no fixing this one, but just a shame. I've struggled with a few Epicias from the other methods of, the cold drafts and getting cold water in the leaves. I've learned from experience, but that's the first one just completely fried up. And another one that I didn't even know this one was as dead as it is until I went around my house. This is a strawberry begonia, or a Saxifraga stolonifera. And I feel like this is just paying my dues. I feel like everybody who's cared for a strawberry begonia has killed a strawberry begonia. I think, at least unless you're doing something really right. But I'm actually seeing there's a little baby plant in there, a little baby. So I guess I'll consider yanking this dead one out and seeing if that one wants to grow. I wouldn't be very heartbroken if it doesn't, but this is very similar care to the Epicias, where they don't like cold water on the leaves, they don't like cold drafts, they don't like drying out. So they are very finicky plants. Definitely more finicky than the Epicias, I would say. So these kind of go hand in hand, but there's no saving this one. But fortunately, as we can see, the little baby might survive. So that'll be kind of nice. This plant is already not somewhere that's very visible, so I don't really mind having an empty pot around. Okay, so this one looks really bad. This is a Peperomia frost. And I know it looks like really bad, but this is actually a really sturdy Peperomia. In fact, I've been growing this one on my dining room table for a year and a half at least, and it just recently was like, nope, I know exactly what I was doing wrong. I was not watering this plant enough. In fact, it's kind of a situational thing. This plant is on my roommate's dining room table, and it belongs to her late parents, so I do not want to mess it up with any water damage. So I'm very lackadaisical when it comes to watering this plant. So this is just a case, once again, of neglect. If I did go ahead and water this plant, these leaves would perk back up, but I think this plant is a little too far gone. Could I save this? 100%. I've had plenty of peperomias where they've been just nothing but a bare stem, and I've thrown them under a grow light, and back they come from the dead, and they look better than before. But Peperomia frost, hate to say it, but it's really not that rare. It's a very, very common peperomia. So if I really want another one, I think I'll just go ahead and get another one. So this is just a case of underwatering right here. Of course, you can overwater your peperomias. I think that's the most often issue we see. But this one was actually the opposite of that, which I think is kind of funny. Another peperomia that is not looking so great is this Peperomia ARGYREIA, or watermelon peperomia. I think I did just film a care video about this, and it's not really giving me that much credibility, but this is my largest of my 3 watermelon peperomias, and my other 2 grow so well for me. I love them, never had a problem other than the occasional thrips, but this one just loves to drop leaves. In fact, it's already just left a leaf behind on the little table I have it sitting on here. So, it's just not happy with me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because I've had another watermelon peperomia for about 3 years. I've only had this one for maybe 1, maybe 2. But that one I've had for the longest grows so well for me. So when I found this large pot of Peperomia ARGYREIA, I was stoked, and I was just so excited to have a large peperomia in my home. But I don't think that is a dream I can fulfill, because they just don't want to be large for me. They just want to be small. This one's, in fact, almost like smaller than my medium size one at this point, just excluding the size of the pot. So at this point, I almost feel like I'm wasting this beautiful pot on this plant that just doesn't look that good. So I don't know. I don't want to get rid of this, because, you know, it's still growing. It still has a few nice looking leaves here and there, but I don't know. This thing is just, it's my worst of the 3 watermelon peperomias that I have in my home. This next one, I do not understand these plants. I can't get them to grow. It's a Philodendron Moonlight, and I'm talking about the hybrids in general. I successfully grow a Philodendron Imperial Red. I think I've had it for like 3 or 4 years now, and it took a while to get chugging along, and once it got chugging, it's chugging, but I cannot get these other ones chugging. I've tried the Moonlight, I've tried the Prince of Orange, I've tried the Macaulay's Finale. I've tried a lot of them. I even have a black cardinal right behind me that's hanging on better than this one is, but I just don't get it. I mean, it's clearly not dead. Like, it's not like, you know, like dying actively, but it never looks good. It's always got something browning. The new leaves never come in looking good. They're always like crinkled and curled. I don't get it. These are very common philodendrons. The common ones are usually easy, but I just don't think this is the philodendron for me. I think I'm going to stick with some of my other ones that catch my fancy a little bit better. Is it underwatering? Is it overwatering? Is it too much light? Is it not enough light? I cannot tell you what's going on with these. I can just tell you that they are not easy to care for, at least in my experience, because other people seem to grow these plants swimmingly, and I just can't do so. I have one more to talk about today. This is a rather new plant I see on the market. This is a Homalomena Selby. I think I see it as another name as well, but I don't remember what that is. So we're just going to call it Homalomena Selby. And it's so unfortunate, because this plant is so beautiful. I think this is like the younger sister of the Aglaonema pictum tricolor, which people are freaking obsessed with. But I think this one has like that same look, just minus that white splashing that one has. I just don't know what's going on with this plant. I feel like I'm caring for it correctly. Like I have it right under a grow light. I feel like it's got the right amount of pot space and the right potting medium, but it's always curled up. Even when it's moist. Like, it's moist right now, and I feel like that's typically the things that my plants do when they are not happy. In fact, from caring for these at the store, I can tell you that they curl up when they need water. So why is mine curled up right now? I don't get it. I just really don't get it. But we do have some new growth coming in at the bottom, like some new leaves. They don't necessarily look fantastic, but not gonna throw this plant out, but I just don't really get what's going on. It's baffling me. I would love to hear from you guys if you grow this plant successfully, what you are doing, because this is the one out of all the ones I'm talking about today where I'm like, I literally have no idea what's going on. I could not tell you, besides the Philodendron Moonlight, which clearly I'm clueless about, but this one too, it's just such a shame because it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful plant, and it's a new plant too, so I just don't have that much experience with it, unfortunately, but yeah, that's really all I have to say because I just don't really have anything to say about this plant. So yeah, these are the plants that I'm currently killing. I think there's probably a couple more, but they didn't look as bad as these guys. So I wanted to talk about the worst of the bunch, but I'd love to hear from you guys which plants you guys are currently killing, because we're all killing something. We gotta admit it. There's something that's not looking as good as we would like it. So give me some tips if you got them. Tell me what plants you're killing. I'd love to hear. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram at Philly Foliage. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great time.